Maybe Putin would nuke himself, actually. Here's a simulation of a nuclear blast in a fucking major city.
Stay tuned. In the meantime, I do have something to share for you today. I generally reserve this channel for my own independent projects, but recently I've been working with the folks behind the Nobel Peace Prize, and not only have they been wonderful to work with in terms of support and creative freedom, but they have allowed me to post the video here on my channel. So thank you to them, and here's the film.
I want y'all to understand something.
The unimaginable happened. A major city is hit by a nuclear weapon. Now, no number could account for all the devastation that would result. But we can put a number on the deaths. At least we can make an educated guess based on our understanding of what nuclear blasts do to city structures and people. We'll assume the bomb is detonated in the air to maximize the radius of impact, as was done in Japan in 1945. But here we'll use an 800 kiloton warhead, a relatively large bomb in today's arsenals, and 100 times more powerful than the bomb dropped on Hiroshima. Upon detonation, a fireball as hot as the sun would expand to a radius of 800 meters. Those near the blast would be vaporized. And within a 2-kilometer radius, all buildings would likely be destroyed. And we'll assume that virtually no one survives inside this area.
Real or fake?
Which, based on population density, would start the death tally at 120,000 people. As you move further away from ground zero, estimating deaths becomes more complicated. From as far away as 11 kilometers.
Just look at how bad Chernobyl was, and it still isn't. It doesn't blow up, and that's it. There's years and years of nuclear waste. Yeah, I think the nuclear fallout of Chernobyl is worse than the nuclear fallout of a nuclear bomb, if I'm not mistaken. I think that like a nuclear bomb is a one and done thing, and it's like fucked up for like 3 like you can I mean, I guess it depends on what kind of nuclear bomb that we're talking about, but yeah, the meltdown is ongoing and steady radiation for an entire region, whereas with nuclear bomb, like you can live there.
21 like the Savage.
Like you can clean up the area and then continue living there after some time passes. However, proximity to a nuke is still pretty significant when you're having a conversation about like Russia launching nukes at Ukraine, especially if you're talking about like their interest personally in like taking an area.
The radiant heat from the blast would be strong enough to cause third-degree burns on exposed skin.
Hey Haz, thanks for everything you've gotten.
And as you get closer to the blast, the heat becomes so intense that clothing, even skin, would ignite into flames. That said, most people in the city would be indoors or otherwise sheltered from direct exposure. But the very structures that offered this protection would then become a cause of injury, as debris would rip through buildings and rain down on city streets.
At HasanAbi 6 months without ads.
As a rough estimate, we can assume that half the people between 2 and 11 kilometers from the blast are killed, from burns, debris, smoke, collapsed buildings, and radiation sickness. Which translates roughly into an additional 500,000 people. Many of these deaths will occur days, even weeks after the attack. Radiation sickness takes about a week to cause death. And much of the dust and ash produced from the explosion will be dangerously radioactive, especially if it originated near ground zero. and the distance the particles travel will depend on the wind and other factors. Now, since this simulation is of an airburst attack, it will produce significantly less radioactive fallout than ground attacks targeting missile silos or bunkers. So we'll go with a relatively small number of deaths outside the 11-kilometer range. If it were a surface blast, the fallout deaths could surpass all other deaths combined, but it's a very difficult number to predict. In theory, radiation deaths can be reduced if people can avoid exposure to the fallout, especially during the critical first few days. Fallout shelters were common during the Cold War, but people rarely build shelters today. And schools no longer practice nuclear war drills. We generally talk less about surviving a nuclear attack. And in a way, it's good that we're less afraid of the bomb now that the Cold War is over. When nations are less on edge, the risk of accidents is arguably reduced.
We had a good run, boys.
But nuclear weapons remain one of the great threats to humanity. And today, we're entering a new era in nuclear weapon history. Long-standing nuclear arms treaties are being reassessed, and countries big and small face the prospect of new arms races.
6 months of paying towards my favorite
In part because technology is emerging that may give one side a considerable strategic advantage, notably hypersonic weapons. Current nuclear missiles travel around the Earth at high altitudes, making them visible by radar earlier in their flight. Now, some hypersonic vehicles travel close to the Earth, through the atmosphere, at least 5 times the speed of sound, giving defending countries far less time to react. And remember that some of the most perilous moments during the Cold War occurred when countries maneuvered to reduce their opponent's reaction time. And the less time countries have to react, the more likely an accident will occur, or a rash judgment. And then you have smaller nukes that blur the line between conventional and nuclear weapons, providing a more slippery path to nuclear escalation. Now, for ordinary citizens, nuclear weapon policy may seem like a complex, even intimidating topic. But leaders often consider public perceptions when making policy. In many countries, voter opinion is an important factor. Whether you believe nuclear weapons have made the world safer.
Bro, that's why I'm saying, like, if you're a government, dude, you want to build a nation, brother, you need one of them shits. You need one of these, okay? Straight up, if Ukraine never gave away its nukes, they would literally not be in this position right now. They couldn't even use the nukes. The Hasan doctrine is alive and well, boys. I'm sorry. Okay? I'm sorry. I have to be truthful. Hasan doctrine is you need nukes. Never give up the nukes. Okay? And nuclear shelters don't fucking work. Like when a tactical ad break comes at the top of the hour.
Hassle.
And you need to run for a nuclear fallout shelter. And the only thing you have in your hands is something that actually does help, which is a $5 a month subscription or a Twitch Prime, which is free.
Hassle.
See me there, leave me there. I'm not leaving Ukraine. Or if you're lucky, maybe you can fucking face it by getting gifted a sub. A gifted sub is like, someone is like, yo, I'm going to a fucking shelter. Do you want to come? Fun fact, Switzerland has the most nuclear shelters. Like the most nuclear shelter space with respect to their population size in comparison to every other country on the planet. Switzerland has enough nuclear shelters. Yes, even more than Albania, a country famous for its bunkers. They have enough nuclear fallout space or nuclear shelter space for, I believe, like their entire population plus like another third. Right? Kind of weird. Kind of weird, Switzerland. Anyway, here's the 1 minute ad break now. Thank you, Teddy Dasher, for the 5 tier 1 gift subs. Okay, let's continue.
Or more dangerous. Both sides generally agree that the bomb brings an unparalleled risk, and that there are things we can do to reduce the risk. Like minimizing how many countries get the bomb, or scaling back Cold War arsenals, or stabilizing technology races, or pledging to never be the first one to strike. Such ideas have often resulted in signed treaties, some of which have held for decades. Some are at risk of expiring, and some just need a final push to become activated.
Yeah,
by being steadfast in these efforts and not walking away from diplomatic achievements, we can continue the work of ensuring that this nightmare simulation never becomes a reality. If you would like to learn about specific policies that could help reduce the risk of nuclear war,
Hiroshima before and after. Wait, is this real?
Hello.
95% of the destruction is because wooden houses burnt over days. The future $18 million doomsday bunker in Vegas. Okay, dude, I can't do this right now.
Russia good actually.
Have you been keeping little bottle caps? Yes. A quick video comparing all the nukes in the world size-wise. I mean, not that it fucking matters. I feel like the size of the nuke does not matter. Oh, this is showing like, you know, the blast size of bombs versus a nuclear bomb.
Let's go. Let's get this news pog.
Wow. That's really fucked up that there's a father of all bombs. And that is actually the most powerful one and not the Moab. I thought the Moab was a nuke. No, mother of all bombs, not a nuke. Let me just say something, okay? We're talking a big game about thermobaric bombs and the mother of all bombs and how Russia's gonna use it. You know who fucking used it? I didn't even realize Moab was thermobaric. Thermobarbaric? What? Is that a distinction? I don't even know what the fuck this is. We did, by the way, for the record. That was like the fucking first thing that Donald Trump did was literally drop a Moab. This video kind of sucks. It's just showing like blast radius. Little boy atomic bomb uranium used on Hiroshima, Japan, World War II. Batman atomic bomb plutonium, deadliest bomb used on civilians, World War II. Callback bomb 1 ton. Radiation fallout worse than blast. This is, I think, the worst video I've ever seen on this. Like, it's actually the worst video I've ever seen on this. Like, there has to be a better video than this. Am I crazy? It's like incredibly scuffed. I can't watch this. I'm sorry. That other video was really good though. Okay, let's see. Ford suspends operations in Russia until further notice. International Court of Justice will hold public hearings in next week over accusations of genocide in Ukraine. Wait, what?